Okay, today we're actually getting into the living Christ. I think I'm just going to do this. I've had some technical difficulties earlier today, and I am happy to be just talking about this right now. So we're going to read about the living Christ. Now, I love this. This, of course, was given several at the 2020, I think. And it seems like they've given so many. This is a testimony of the apostles. So, unlike the proclamation, which was a proclamation, this one never says that it's a proclamation, but it is a proclamation. Again, to me, I don't know if the church recognizes it on the same level as the proclamation, but it is the same level because it's the apostles of the church. And the prophets, as we've seen down here, I'm just going down to the bottom. You've got the first presidency and the quorum of the 12 that all sign their name to it. And I think that that's good enough for us to know that it's their testimonies of the living Christ. And I love the fact that they've done this and that it's part of Christmas week. In fact, it's not just part of Christmas week, it is Christmas week, the living Christ. And I love the fact that they've done this. And as I've told you before, there is still inspiration in the church. We've talked a lot. The Doctrine and Covenants covers the beginning of the church, but it doesn't cover everything about the church. Nor is it the only revelation we have. And I believe this is revelation. It's stuff that we have throughout the scriptures. You might say, oh, well, duh. Of course it's this. But if you look at it, this is telling you what we believe of Jesus Christ. And it's not only that, but it's the testimony they give. And what a strong testimony. I think this is just more as strong as any New Testament testimony of Jesus Christ that we can have. And I think Come Follow Me mentions that a few times. I believe it strongly as well. As we commemorate the birth of Jesus Christ 2 millennia ago, we offer our testimony of the reality of his matchless life and infinite virtue of his atoning sacrifice. None other has so profound an influence upon all who have lived and will yet live upon the earth. None other had so profound an influence upon all. Think of all the great people in the world that we've had, from even people that live today that are influence our lives, to people hundreds and thousands of years ago whom through history has influence, but none has been like Jesus Christ. And there's a reason for that. Even I mean, I'm not even just talking about being members of the church, which I think definitely he's changed my life completely, but there's such a profound influence upon all who have lived. As President Hinckley said, I think this same year, that they're celebrating the new year in countries that are not Christian countries, known as Christian countries, because of the effect that Jesus Christ and his birth has had. They might celebrate it differently, but they still celebrate that new year. As we see it, as his celebrating his birth. He was the great Jehovah of the Old Testament, the Messiah of the New Testament. Under the direction of his Father, he was creator of the earth. All things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. That's a pretty big statement. In other words, anything you see on the earth, he's had a hand in making. That is what we have as our Creator and our Messiah and our Jehovah. Though sinless, he was baptized to fulfill all righteousness. He went about doing good. These are traits that we can look for. I mean, sinless, I think none of us can be that, but we can be baptized to fulfill righteousness in our lives and to become more righteous. He went about doing good, yet was despised for it. His gospel was a message of peace and goodwill. He entreated all to follow his example. He walked the roads of Palestine, healing the sick, causing the blind to see, and raising the dead. He taught the truths of eternity, the reality of our premortal existence, the purpose of our life on earth, and the potential for the sons and daughters of God in the life to come. This is so meaty that, we basically have been talking about this all year long anyway, and every year we talk about Jesus Christ. And next year, as we get into the Old Testament, we're going to see how much Jesus Christ comes out as Jehovah in the Old Testament. I think it's going to be great. And I hope as you go throughout today and tomorrow or whenever that you can remember all these things that he's done, healing the sick and the blind seeing, and all these things that helps us want to celebrate this time of year. I think it's a great thing to be able to do. Not separating the baby Jesus from the adult Jesus, from the Jesus that was on the cross. They're all the same person. I think it's really important that we know this time of year that as we celebrate his birth, we do look at that infant and what potential he brought. And I hope that you have a wonderful day and that you can think more on Jesus today. And we'll see you tomorrow.